Hello, hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone.
In the chat, it would be great if you guys could introduce yourselves as we kind of come in. We still have a couple more minutes. There was a former student that was registered, but I don't see her yet. So,
Oh, fun.
oh no, I do.
You could give them a shout out.
Maggie, you there?
Good morning. Hi.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. How you been?
Excellent. I'm very excited. This is my first Visti, and I'm in my first year as Nespitz in Fairfax County. So
Yeah.
yay! Woohoo!
I'm so close.
You're so
I'm
close.
so close. Soon.
When did you start? At the start of the year?
Yeah. I actually I switched into the role at my same school. So I
Oh,
went
cool.
from being a history teacher to the Espitz.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What school are you at?
Hayfield Secondary.
Awesome. Do you love it?
I love it. It's been so wonderful.
Good.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw you online. I was like, wait a minute, I know her. It's been a while. When did you graduate though?
I was December 2020.
Oh yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right,
been a
right.
while.
Yeah. So if you come in, thanks for introducing yourself, Kathy.
I want to know how to say that name.
Odd?
Yeah, that was my guess. I need to know.
And Kenneth. Great, thank you.
Fauquier County, that's where Darby left us to go to.
So we will throw up the QR code and the bit.ly link at the end of the presentation as well. Also happy to hear your thoughts. So please be active in the chat. We'd love to hear about you. We do have to just say that we're like the Verizon bars here. So
We did not plan
we
this.
get good
Or
reception here.
did we?
It's really great lighting.
Yeah. Caroline, thanks for introducing yourself. Another FCPS SBIT. That's great.
Thanks, Nicole.
Oh, Nicole's putting it in
There
the
you
chat.
go. You
Great.
guys got it.
And then if there's stragglers, maybe we could add them in too. So so it's looking like we have a lot of okay, Sarah, great. So SBITs, we have feels like coaches here. So that's great. I mean, that's really what we're hoping for. But even if you're a teacher, this can also be overcoming the obstacles that you have in the classroom as well. But we will be talking about coaching in this presentation quite a bit too. So we got a couple more people coming in. This is great.
LCPS. What's
Yeah,
LCPS?
IFT.
Loudoun County. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, Loudoun County.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I got it right. See, I know what's up. Okay.
I love to know all like the tech coach acronyms.
We all have like
Like,
similar
it should,
jobs.
It should
but
be like a bingo game. Like that should
Yeah.
be what Visti should do next time is can you find and like, you know, and we can mark our boards.
legit.
Totally. Who do I
Yeah,
tell,
yeah.
JB?
Prince William County General Ed teacher, 6th and 7th grade, socialize and create.
Alphabet soup. That's exactly what I was thinking too. TRT. Yeah.
And thank you so much for that.
Oh, special ed coordinator. That's great.
DC.
Arlo, we should talk. We're doing some research on special education and blended learning. That's been really good.
Botetourt. That's where my cousin lives. Right? Is that how you say it?
I have no idea.
Botetourt. I think it's just such a fun one to say. I love that sound.
Yes, like a local. Oh man,
A couple of them. Okay.
where is that? I'm not from Virginia.
So, like Roanoke, like on the way down to
Okay,
to
okay.
Roanoke. Yeah, I pass it on the way to my dad's. But the way my cousin says it's just so cute. I'm like, oh, I want to live in a town that's fun to say.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we're up to 24 announcements.
Woo-hoo.
That's good enough.
9:48.
Yeah, so let's go. Let's do this.
Woo!
So Jared Borup, I'm at George Mason University. I'm in a program called the Learning Technologies in Schools program. It used to be the Blended Online Learning Schools program. We actually merged a couple different programs. But I'm the co-academic program coordinator for the program. It's fully online. If you're interested, hit me up. I'd love to talk more about it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Sandrovich. I am currently an SBIT in Fairfax, but I personally am not a fan of that name, so I'm calling myself an ed tech coach at K-2 elementary school. And I did the program, the Blended and Online Learning program with Borup. And like he said, it's fully online. So I was able to do it while I was still teaching in the classroom, and very flexible, very fun.
Asynchronous. right?
Asynchronous, and you get to use a lot of what you're learning in class right into your
Yep.
practice.
Absolutely. And am I an OG? Like, I feel like, yeah,
You're
'cause
one of
I'm
the oldest G's.
I'm a moderately aged OG. So I graduated in 2018 from the Blended and Online Learning program, which is, I know, called L Learning Technology. What is it now? LT?
Learning Technologies in Schools.
Thank you. So again, amazing program. Absolutely loved it. Like, it just reinvigorated my passion for technology in the classroom. He's awesome. And like Nicole said, we learn something, turn around, use it the next day. It absolutely changed who I am as a teacher in the classroom.
So we still have Designing Digital Learning in Schools. So actually in the program, there's two different options that you have. So there's core courses, and then you can do Designing Digital Learning in Schools or the Blended Online Learning in Schools. And we were talking about the oldest of G's. My mom's actually here.
Yeah.
Let's hear you, Mom.
81 here.
Oh, wait, we're gonna see
Wait,
her.
there we go.
Hey,
Yeah.
wave, Mom. Yeah. So we're heading out right after this. Okay, so we do have a booth here. I'm guessing all of you are virtual. If you are here, it's booth 518. We can enter you into a drawing for an Apple Watch. If you send me an email or a DM on Twitter or whatever, then we can enter you in that drawing as well. But it has to be by 1 o'clock. After that, we're going to close and do the drawing.
Don't worry, I'm putting his email in the chat so
Thank
you
you.
all have it.
Oh, there it is, right there. See?
There you
okay.
go.
Okay, so blended learning and blended teaching is really hard. As we learned during the pandemic, and we're still experiencing these difficulties. Just one side of this graphic is really, really difficult, right? Just mastering in-person learning is hard, mastering online learning is hard, and then figuring out how to facilitate all those interactions together and blending them together is super, super challenging. So, but when we look at this, we kind of identified two obstacles to blended teaching. The first one is knowledge and skills. And the second one is attitudes and dispositions and a vision, meaning teachers need knowledge and skills, but they also have to have those dispositions and have a vision for what blended teaching is. Out of curiosity, which do you find is the hardest one to overcome? Obstacle 1 or obstacle 2? So go ahead and put that in the chat. Really curious.
Seeing a lot of twos.
Okay, we're seeing a waterfall of 2s.
I agree with you.
Not even 1-1? No
Wow.
curmudgeon there? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Regina, can you tell a little bit about that? What you mean by that?
I mean, it's definitely harder, the attitudes and dispositions. But in my experience, you have to get over that before you can really help to support the knowledge and skills for teachers to be able to do it. So like,
Yeah.
They need to be reversed to be able to really truly get that good teaching.
We were just talking about that last night. Yeah, I agree 100%. So we're going to focus mostly on the attitudes and dispositions. So think of Katie Couric. We all know Katie Couric, right?
We're back here.
This is a real quote, by the way. So she said in 1994, "I have no desire to be part of the internet." Right. And I think we're seeing that right now too, where we hear teachers saying, "I have no desire to be part of blended learning." Right. And so how do you overcome that? Well, Katie Couric figured it out just with time, right? And that will happen just with time. But how do we kind of speed up that process a little bit? So here's my joke. How many coaches does it take to change a light bulb? Any Any answers in the chat? Anyone know?
Did you make this joke up?
No.
No.
Only one, but the light bulb has to want to change, right? So. Yeah,
If
can I
you
get a
take-
ha-ha in
if
the
you
chat
take
there?
the course, you get
Yeah.
this all the time.
If you were at yesterday's keynote, I love that keynote. And he talked about this idea of mirrors, windows, and sliding doors, meaning he was talking about in media where we have to see ourselves, we have to see new opportunities, new vistas, but then we also have to have something that we walk through with the sliding door. And I think that's the same thing with professional learning. I really like that idea. They need to see themselves in the professional learning. They have to also see new opportunities. And then they also have to have opportunities to walk through that door. Okay. So how do we get them to want to walk through that door? That's really hard, to want to change. Here's Ed Psych. This is a classic video. And let's apply this to your school culture.
The gentleman in the elevator now is a candid star. These folks who are entering, the man with a white shirt, the lady with a trench coat, and subsequently one other member of our staff will face the rear. And you'll see how this man in the trench coat tries to maintain his individuality, but little by little, he looks at his watch, but he's really making an excuse for turning just a little bit more to the wall. Now we'll try it once again. Here's the candid subject. Here comes the candid camera staff, 3 of them at least. And this man has apparently been in groups before. Now, here's a fella with his hat on in the elevator. First he makes a full turn to the rear and Charlie closes the door. A moment later, we'll open the door, everybody's changed positions. Now we'll see if we can use group pressure for some good. Now, in a moment, on Charlie's signal, everybody turns forward. Notice they take off their hats.
Okay, we'll end it there. So how does that apply to school culture? Well, if you've got a great school culture of blended learning where people are doing it, if you bring someone new into your school, it's super easy, right? They're going to see what's going on. They're going to want to change, right? What's hard is starting that school culture. So who here feels like they need to start that culture? So I'm curious in the chat, do you already have an established culture or do you need to start that culture when it comes to blended teaching? So if you wouldn't mind sharing that in the chat, that'd be great. But here's an option of how do you start that school culture, right? So you have to reach a tipping point. So here's an example. Maybe has everybody seen this, the dancing guy with leadership?
I mean, even if you have it, you need to watch it again.
Yeah,
It's great
It's
for a
great.
cloudy Tuesday morning.
right.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, The first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut, and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. A movement must
Okay,
be...
so the spoiler, I'm gonna cut ahead. So the spoiler is,
saw what
once
really
you get a small group going, then everybody feels safe and everybody's gonna join in. So as a SBIT or instructional coach or IT, I forget the alphabet soup. But if you're one of those with those letters, you kind of have to stand up and be ridiculous sometimes, right? And sometimes you only get one person joining you at professional learning environments. But that's fine. If you can get that person going and amplifying their voice, then others can feel safe and come along, but it takes time. So lasting change is difficult. One thing with this example too, did they dance or are they dancers, right? And that's a big difference, right? We not only want them to dance, but we want them to continue dancing when we're not there. And that can be really hard. So I started running recently, and my goal is to run the Disney Marathon. That's me before I grew my hair out. Nicole said I don't look like that anymore.
Little updated
Yeah,
pictures
the
needed.
pandemic has
right?
been hard on some of us, right? So I've got a plan, right? Couch to marathon. I got the couch down. Now I need the marathon. I have the equipment. I got the technology, the shoes. I'm good to go. And I start running until I get down the street and I having a heart attack. Like, it's really hard. This is way harder than I thought. So I give up, right? Until eventually I receive the support I need. My wife starts running with me every day, and that gets me going for a while, and then eventually she stops. Or I have a nutritionist, or I get better shoes, or when I hurt my knee, which happens, I can get support from that, right? So really, when you're looking at teachers, they need someone to help them along the way in lots of different ways. I would say as a coach, you're that person the day by day running with them. And in a lot of ways, that's the most important type of support. And if we do that, well, mission accomplished, they can succeed, but they're probably not, thank you. I do feel like I ran a marathon during this conference. But maybe this is a different metaphor. Like maybe it's more muddy. It's grittier when it comes to being an instructional coach. We got to get down in them, pull them up out of the mire. And we see that sometimes they have to stand on us. But that's fine. We have to put ourselves in all sorts of positions to help people.
Yeah, so kind of what Jared was saying, being a coach, it's my first year being one, and it could get very muddy. Here I have an example of trying to communicate with my kindergarten teacher teams. I have 10 of them. And I wanted to try something different. I wanted to do like a flip with them, a flip grid of getting their response. We have iPads, try something new. And as you can see, out of 10 teachers, I only got one response. And that was after multiple times of sending it out. So it's going to be muddy. It's going to be hard. Did I have a little bit of a, oh man, what am I doing wrong moment? Yeah, but you shake it off and you got to try something else. So my suggestion then was just going right up to the people and asking them and writing down right in front of them. So it's going to be muddy. You're going to have some failures, but you just got to keep on trying and seeing what works best with your staff.
And as we saw with those dancers, just having one is a start, right?
Mhm.
And so if we focus on the one, you can still have an impact.
Yeah. So, and instead of trying email, you could definitely try videos. I have different devices that we use, iPads and computers. So I wanted to get information out quickly to my teachers, but also they can share it with their class. So it's multi-use. So I tried creating videos and sending those out, and even little messages with updates on our news show or updates on talking points. And using those different forms of video or just screencastify, just to get that information out to your teachers in different forms. Just like our students need information in different forms, staff members are the same way.
Yeah, I love that just-in-time support. That's great.
Yeah. And then meeting the level of needs.
Should I play this?
Yeah, it's just, there's no audio.
Okay.
Yeah, so I created a PD at the beginning of the year. We were using Schoology Fairfax. And so I was like, well, some teachers I know how to do it, some don't. If you could pause it right here, I created kind of a leveled system for getting them into Schoology. So group 1, they were going to work together, kind of collaboration. 2 was more directly with me, and 3, they know what they're doing. They could go work on their own. So breaking it down was kind of helpful to not only the staff members, but I was also able to see what staff members go where. So I made a mental note of like, okay, if they're coming to me, I'm probably going to be seeing them for a little bit at the beginning of the school year. So it was helpful for them, but it was also helpful for me.
The research actually backs it up a lot. Like if you want them to differentiate instruction, then your PD has to be differentiated, right? And that's really in higher ed, I call that, or other people have called it, a course and a half. So when they take my course, they're actually taking the material, right? That's the course, but then the half of the course that they're taking is how I facilitate that course. And it's the same thing with PD. So I love how you differentiated it here.
Yeah.
Should I keep playing?
No, it was just the rest of the
Oh, okay.
PD. It's all good.
All right.
Yeah. Given checklists for teachers too. Fun time. And then I know we have all different names for our positions. Same with team meetings. My county calls them PLCs. We have PLTs. It's
SLTs.
It's planning time with the teachers. And it could be really hard being an outsider of getting your foot in the door and making yourself present. So one suggestion would be ask before attending, seeing if staff members want you to come to the meeting. There's a GIF I have of a Google form I send out and asking the team leads or staff members, hey, is there anything that's coming up that you want me to be a part of? I can bring resources. So kind of getting ahead of the game. Not gonna lie, doesn't always work. I'm still at 0 of invites, yes. But the next thing you can do, put it on your calendar and just pop in, listen to what they're talking about and share. I actually got a tip for one of the sessions here is always leave your staff member with something when you're leaving the room. So a Post-it note, like tell them, hey, I'm going to take a look into this. You're doing AVMR. I'm going to take a look into what tools we have or what I can create to help you with doing those courses. So little things like that is just building that relationship and getting yourself in there. Is it always perfect? No, just like my Google form, 0, but I'm going to keep trying.
So I think also one thing that I like about that Google form is that you want to start with the problems that they're facing, right? Our goal is not for them to use technology. Our goal is for them to use technology well.
Yes.
And to actually improve instruction. So this is not what you want to do. The husband in this video is not what you want to do as a instructional coach.
Emma. Huh? Emma. 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 Emma.
So technology, you can simply digitizing what they've always done. That's an okay use of technology. But in the end, if we're not solving problems, he's basically creating problems. So, oh, this is not good. This is not good. You're using paper. You shouldn't use paper. But there's a lot of good use for paper, right? As we saw at the end, like the iPad wasn't going to help him. He had a problem, and the technology wasn't going to help, right? And so we see that as well with
Emma.
Sometimes instructional coaches forget how great paper can be. So this is one of my favorite YouTube clips.
You know, once in a while, something comes along that changes the way we live. A device so simple and intuitive, using it feels almost familiar. Introducing the 2015 IKEA catalog. It's not a digital book or an e-book. It's a book. The first thing to note is no cables, not even a power cable. The 2015 IKEA catalog comes fully charged and the battery life is eternal. The interface is 7.5 by 8 inches, but can expand to 15 by 8 inches. The navigation is based on tactile touch technology that you can actually feel. Right to left to move forwards, left to right to move backwards. Notice something else? That's right, no lag. Each crystal clear page loads instantaneously, no matter how fast you scroll. If you find something you want to save for later, you can simply bookmark it. And even if you close the application, you can easily find the bookmark again.
Amazing, right? So I sometimes hear people say, well, we're going paperless. I don't know if that's the goal, right? I mean, there's good use of paper, and paper can be amazing. So the trick is finding those opportunities when technology will really solve a problem. And if it's not solving a problem, then I wouldn't push it so hard, right? All right. So problems are the best entry points for blended teaching. You got to get to know the teachers, see what are they challenged with, what do they want to do, what are their goals, and if you can identify those and then identify those that where technology and blended learning can really help, then that's your entry point for those kind of reluctant teachers. Are you guys familiar with the ISTE standards for coaches, right? Yeah, really great standards. There are also a lot of them. Just if you click on Change Agent, which is what we're talking about here, there are, how many is that? 5 things, right? One of those is probably the hardest, is create a shared vision, right? So we know how important that is. We're going to share a framework that can kind of help with that a little bit. And so it's a PICRAP model. Royce Kimmons and Charles Graham and Rick West at Brigham Young University developed this, but I really like it. Sometimes we see the SAMR model, which is also really common, but this has another layer to it that I think is really helpful. So I'm going to play this clip and I want you to tell me, is this a good use of technology? It's in German, so if you speak German, good for you. If not, it doesn't matter. It's just a daughter and a father, and she's asking him how he likes the iPad you bought him.
Dem neuen iPad zurecht, was wir dir zum Geburtstag geschenkt haben?
Gut.
Mit den ganzen Apps kommst du klar?
Was denn für Apps? Geh mal bitte ein Stück zur Seite. So.
Okay, so is that a good use of technology? I actually am curious. Let me change that. Let me ask, hold on. What was good about that use of technology? Let me ask that question. What's good about that use of technology? So Jacqueline, you already saw that? Yeah? What was good about it? Okay, Leah, thank you.
Point, Leah.
Thank you. Yeah, he had a need, right? He needed a better cutting board. Maybe it was wooden and it wouldn't go in the dishwasher. So this one is washable, right? You can just throw it in the dishwasher. Maybe it's healthier. Salmonella is not going to be in those cracks, right? So it might be a little bit better. And I think that a lot of teachers, when they start using technology, they have a need, they use technology to make their lives a little bit better, right? This whole process is incremental. So if they even use technology to improve things a little bit better, that's still good, right? If they put their iPads in a dishwasher, I'd probably have a talk with them. But if they use technology to digitize a worksheet or something like that, that's good. Celebrate that, but then also get them to go further. So the RAT in the PICRAP model is to replace, amplify, or transform. So replace is just digitize what you've always done. Amplify is to use technology to make things a little bit better. Transform is actually to use technology to do something that wouldn't be possible otherwise at all. So there are good reasons for replacement. I think sometimes we look at that and we think, oh, they're just digitizing what they've always done. Well, there's good reason for that. Efficiency, cost effectiveness, access. We saw that during the pandemic. Imagine if we didn't have Zoom during the pandemic, that would have been bad. Novelty can also be good. But none of this is likely to impact learning, and sometimes it can actually make learning worse. So in order for us to impact learning, we have to get to that amplified or transformed. So let's go through some examples. One is, handwriting versus typing. So there we're at the replacement level. Well, we could amplify that by having them do a blog, and now they can have images or video on that, but it's still an essay, right? Or they can do it in a Google Doc and we can collaborate, we can provide them with feedback. We're amplifying it, but it's still the same activity. Or, wait for this, they can do an epic rap battle with puppets.
The year is 1765, and tensions were mounting between the British government and the colonists. There is only one way to settle the conflict. With the rap battle! Introducing from across the sea, King George III.
King George III, that's my name, you see?
You get the idea. So shout out to Stephanie for making that video. But I love that. But you can see all the literacy that went into that, but then she did something with technology that couldn't be done otherwise.
The year is
We see this also with pen pals, right? So we have pen pals, now we have e-pals. Well, we can also have grid pals now that they changed their name. I assume they still have grid pals. But you can connect with all these people around the world, right? And it can actually amplify and transform the experience. Or you can also have guest speakers come in. So this is one example. I'll let you guys, well, I'll play it really quick.
Amanda, this is Rachel.
So what happened is these students, they wrote letters as if they were from an internment camp, a Japanese internment camp in World War II. And then this teacher, I actually spoke to her and she said that this was a really hard group of students actually. And so she needed them to connect with the material. And so she actually had internment camp survivors and she created this voice read. The internment camp survivors actually watched the student letters and heard their narration. And then they got on and commented. And this is one of the most, I'm getting cold chills now just talking about it, honestly. I think this is one of the most powerful lessons I've seen.
Talking. And you know what? When you were talking about lack of privacy, you know what I remembered? And I was only a little girl, about 8 years old. It was so embarrassing to have to go to the toilet in front of everybody. There was no doors to close. There were no walls on either side of the toilets. It was just toilet after toilet. And it's embarrassing to have to go in front of somebody, but then you have to watch other people go. But you know what some of those ladies did? They got very clever. Some ladies got paper bags and they cut out holes for their eyes so that people couldn't see who it was that was sitting on that toilet. And then some ladies did something more. They got cardboard boxes and they sort of opened them up and then they wrapped it around them like skirts so they could have some privacy while they sat on the toilet. And then Japanese culture stepped in here. Some of the ladies started painting and coloring very nice designs on their little skirts on these boxes. And then it became competitive to see who could do the best and the most beautiful boxes to put around their toilets. Wasn't that an interesting thing? Well, I thought you might like to hear that. So that was my story to you. And thank you very much for being on this project. Bye.
So I remember, I remember actually going to the Topaz internment camp in Millard County, Utah, where we grew up. My mom's here, like I said, and very powerful experience. But I never heard that, and to be able to connect to that topic like that. When I talked with Haley, she just said it totally not Haley, Halloran. She said that it totally changed the feel in her classroom, right? So it can be a powerful, transformative experience when you use technology. Okay, so that's the RAT. Now let's talk about the PIC. So the PIC stands for passive, interactive, and creative. So passive is watching a video. This is one size fits all. So it might be lecturing, might be watching a video, might be reading something, might be listening to a podcast, things like that. Interactive is when you have opportunities to engage with the content. Maybe it's an adaptive learning software, or maybe it's an educational game, or maybe they're interacting with you or with their peers online. They can also use technology to create. So creative doesn't mean that they're being creative. It means that they're actually creating something with the technology. So it might be that they're typing something, they're creating an essay. They might be doing a presentation. They might be creating a video. There's lots of things that students are creating. all of these are important. I want to emphasize that. You need all of them. Can you imagine a course where it's all creative? It would be awful. That would be the worst course ever. You need passive learning, you need interactive learning, and you need creative learning opportunities. The problem is when you don't have all three, right? If you're stuck in passive or interactive and you don't get to creative, that's a problem too. So videos, let's just look at videos for a minute, and Christy's going to share some examples, but videos can be passive, interactive, and creative as well. And all of these are great uses of technology that Christy's going to share.
So this is an example of a video that I created for my students. You could see in the bottom right, that's cut off, but there's a picture of me. So I just recorded myself kind of walking the kids through the activity. I presented them with a problem, and then I kind of just guide them through what they're supposed to do, and then kind of help them scaffold so they can solve the problem on their own. So they're just really listening. And then this is on my math website. I call this the meat and potatoes. The kiddos, when we learn a new concept, they get notes, and those notes are, they cut them and they glue them in their notebook. And then I create a video, so the students will listen to the video and they'll pause it and they'll fill in the notes with me, and I'll set up a model problem, and then the kids will copy that model problem. And they love doing this. Like if I highlight in the video, they highlight. If I use red pen, they take out their red pen. So they like to make it like what I have. And that's like their beautiful like example that they keep, that they will go back to study from. And the students appreciate this because they can kind of get it at their own pace. And some students will start this in class and then they want to finish it for homework. Some students will watch it or not watch it necessarily in class, but they'll go home and they'll watch it. And it helps students because not everybody is willing. I'm an advanced academics teacher. I teach Math 7 in 6th grade. And not all students are willing to always raise their hand and ask questions. So this just provides them an opportunity to be able to get the lesson from me again. I tell them, you guys get digital me, so you guys can always listen to me at home. Parents also really love this because how many times, I don't know how many parents are out there, but I'm a math teacher and I try to help my son with math. I tried to help my niece. I was in Florida a couple of weeks ago. I was helping my niece with math, and I'm like, I know the answer. I am a math teacher. She's like, no, that's not how my teacher does it. I'm like,
There's so many new
all right,
ways.
right. So we had this whole debate, but so how many times does that come up? That's not how my teacher does it. So these videos parents appreciate too, because they can kind of watch, get a sense of what's going on in the classroom, and they can help support their kids at home.
And I think it's a great example of interactive videos. Not that the video is changing, it's still a one size fits all, but they need it to kind of interact with their assignment, to complete their assignment. And it's that support just in time when they actually need it.
And a lot of times too, when there's sample problems, I'll tell the kids to pause the video here. I want you to do the work and then unpause and check, because it helps. Instead of me having to go to every single paper, and check them, they're able to self-check with me with the video while I'm working with kids in small group at the back table.
Edpuzzle is a whole business built on making videos more interactive, right? Who uses Edpuzzle? You? Yeah.
A little bit. I didn't get too much into it yet, but
Yeah.
Bridget was our big Edpuzzle,
yeah.
but it is awesome.
Margaret uses it too.
Yeah. So how do you use it, Margaret? When you're a social studies teacher?
Well, now I'm an SBITS, but when I was a social studies teacher, we
Yeah.
often did the videos in our classes so students could work at their own pace, and you can do very surface level multiple choice questions, but you can also do the reflection and kind of like a deeper analysis, and the teacher can jump in and check the work. It was really awesome, and they can't go past the stop point in the video, so they have to actually engage with the content.
Yeah.
Help to hold them accountable. Which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Because passive learning, how long do you think students will watch a video on their own with no checkpoints? There's actually a lot of research on this.
Like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
I'm thinking younger kids.
30
seconds, super fast.
Yeah, there's been research with adults, which would need to be changed. But with adults with these free online courses, they find that after 6 minutes, there's a steep drop off on people actually watching it. They'll just close it. So you've got that long. So if you can hold them accountable, make it more interactive. Edpuzzle is really good at that, and you can actually make it a bit more engaging and fun as well with Edpuzzle.
So this is one of my former students, and we should just say all of the examples that I'm sharing, we have parent permission to share with you guys. So this student, full of energy, like bounces off the walls, right? And he's so creative. And this was an activity that I assigned the students. We were in a geometry unit in math, and there was a list of all the vocabulary, and the assignment just simply was show me your understanding of vocabulary, and there was a choice board. So students could show their understanding of vocabulary in a variety of different ways, maybe a poem, maybe a video, a skit, draw pictures, whatever they wanted. And I had paper pencil options as well. So I had a flip set up for each of the units in math. And then if students wanted to share a video via flip, they just clicked on the link and they posted their video there. So what we're going to watch is the student's flip video that he made on quadrilaterals.
Quadrilaterals. Got them right here. Quadrilateral. You're joking, right? What? I got your quadrilaterals, dude. These are not quadrilaterals. These are triangles. Aren't they the same thing? No, this is a triangle. This is a quadrilateral. Okay, I got your quadrilateral. This is a quadrilateral. Look, this is the one you gave me. This is the one I brought. They're the same thing.
Sorry for the violence. Without a warning.
Listen, quadrilateral is a shape with 4 sides and it's closed. It also has 4 angles. Jeez. Okay, fine. I got scissors. Let me give you your quadrilateral. Look, 4 sides, 4 angles, and it's closed. Happy? Technically, since it does have 4 sides and 4 angles and it is closed, that also counts as a quadrilateral. That all quadrilaterals are rectangles or squares. Gee, that guy did not know anything about shapes. He took my wallet.
But so this kid too, like, I mean, the kids in my class all started watching the video, and it just like, he was so proud. He was so excited. And this is when Flipgrid was Flipgrid, you know, when it was new.
Back in the day.
Right. OG, right?
Yeah.
Flipgrid user. But so he was one of the first kids in our class to use it in a creative way where he switched characters, where he like, I remember his first video that he made, he held his laptop up and he like talked to it this way. And I was just like, just the perspective, his outlet of creativity. And he just recorded this in the hall. I always have students just kind of spattered around my school, but he's right in front of the library overlook. And I just kind of peek at them. We talk about responsible choices, and kids they hold up signs that say, you know, quiet, please, I'm recording. And they just roll with it. So you saw people pushing a cart behind him, and that we just make and don't worry about.
Yeah.
I just think about like being in elementary, you might like do sorts and things with your kids, but like if I was to do a sort and then have this video, which one are you going to remember more? You're going to remember the video.
Yeah. I mean, having them connect and interact online can be really great. And video is a great way to do that because they can do things that they couldn't do otherwise. But even if you have text discussion boards, I taught 9th grade social studies, and I'm thinking of a student, we'll name him Derek because that was his name. And I couldn't get him to do anything in class. We did an online discussion board and I couldn't get him to shut up. Like, he was just so active online. And if you give some students the opportunity to process what's going on and then to respond, and if they can keep responding to lots of people, some students are really drawn to that.
Jacqueline said you could see his personality too. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
when you give students that choice, they pick the thing that, you know, is their wheelhouse if they're actors, or that rapping, you know, just things that I, as a teacher, if I were to limit everything to like what I'm comfortable doing, then we would all kind of be creating the same products. But when I think we open up that door and take the lid off and just say like, here's options, and like you do you, then you start to see these like incredible things.
I want to know how many TikTok followers he has. I'm sure.
Where's the
Okay, so I talked with 2 social studies teachers. One was in the Ozarks in Arkansas. One was in New Jersey. And I loved hearing them. They basically, during the election, they had a shared Padlet, and they had their students communicating. They give them a prompt and then they communicate back and forth. But pretty soon they started sharing other things about their lives. And one thing that I loved was the people in New Jersey are like, in Arkansas, they do this thing called mudding. What is mudding? I don't even know what they're talking about. Who knows what mudding is? Okay, okay. I'm not alone. Growing up in central Utah, yeah, we knew what mudding was. It's you take your 4x4 or your four-wheeler and you get as muddy as possible on the roads. But they learned that. And the same thing, like in New Jersey, they said we saw a bear in New Jersey, and the kids were freaking out. And in Arkansas, they said, well, you better take a gun next time. They're like, if I take a gun, I'm going to get shot. Like, what are you talking about? I can't do that. So just having this opportunity to exchange was a really transformative experience for both students. And what else was interesting is that both of them felt like they don't want to hear what I have to say. I'm really curious what they're saying. They don't want to hear what I have to say. And so if you give students a platform and just have them practice sharing and interacting with people in a world that's connected, then they're going to be better off. They'll have different perspectives.
So in this video, we were in our poetry unit for language arts, and one of the standards for 6th grade is that the students need to know what a ballad is. And they didn't have to write one, but just like understand what it is and why it's used. But if you want to write one, go ahead. And so this group of students, they got together and they did a presentation. They wrote a ballad, and not only did they write it, they recorded a video, and one of the students, she sung the ballad, and she just set up like her laptop in the hallway, and she took the offices, for tests, and she stacked up 3 of them. So she was just like in her own little private like space, and one take, she just sang the whole thing. And she's a singer. Again, I would never.
We'll just play a little bit here, but.
From when you're born to when your bones are gone, memories will be inside.
So pretty cool that she was,
right?
Yeah, tapping into her interests.
Yeah, bring those arts in.
Yeah, because again, I would never. But this one is another math example, same kind of concepts. We're doing inequalities. Show me your understanding what inequality is. So this student created, this is a slide deck, and it's probably has like 1,000 slides. And what they do is they learn from each other how to make animations. So, one slide is a picture, the next slide, they just move something tiny bit. So this is the inequalitator, if I'm saying it right, and he attacks the city, and you can see he's shooting out like inequalities, and he's knocking over all the buildings. And who comes to the rescue is Albert Einstein. And he comes in, and as the inequalitator is shooting out inequalities, he's like, bam, I know what that is. And he starts solving for X, or what X is less than or greater than or equal to. So just super cool way. And 2 kids in my class, I think the next example, the 2 kids in the class, they kind of inspired each other. So the next video is on functions, same concepts, show me your understanding of functions. So he made this video, and he also did the same thing. He is not a student they were both very quiet. They didn't speak up a lot in class. Alex did not like to volunteer or be put on the spot. And when he made this, I didn't even know what an incredible like graphic designer and artist. All of his projects were amazing. I was like, you literally made this. He made, isn't that incredible? Like the dog and the person and the little, like everything. It was incredible. He worked on it for 2 weeks. He was so passionate about it. It was like his passion project. We talked about inequalities are functions are these in and out machines. So how when you put something in like 2 and out comes 4, you have to decide what's happening to it. Are you adding 4, you multiplying by 2. So the dog puts in a bone, he goes through this function, and he realizes that out comes, can't do 2, a lot of bones.
So the assignment wasn't to do a stop motion.
No. It was just show me your understanding and choice. This was video. So he chose to do video, and he chose to put all this effort into doing this. I didn't even know this could be done.
Blows my mind.
Right?
It really does.
And sorry.
No, just it blows my mind.
It was cool. And then the end of the video was funny because he took humor, and he took the guy's wallet and put it in, and then out came all this money. And at the end, they're all like bling and rich and have money waving behind them. So another example, math. So I teach math 6 and math 7 twice a day. I'm not a science and social studies teacher. And so the students learned integers, and then they just had to show integers in the news. So these students were so excited. I said, okay, it's reporting day. All of our kids went outside. They picked a different spot in our outdoor classroom. And then they brought props like for weather. They had an umbrella. They had coffee mugs. One student dressed up totally in a suit. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And they just got all into it. They got their filming, and then they just used some of the basic stuff that's on the computer to do editing and present their integer operation newscasts.
This is one example of 2 social studies teachers in Fairfax County that I loved. What they did is they were learning about immigration. And so they as two classes, they connected and they identified interview questions. And then students went out and they interviewed people that immigrated to the area. And then they made a video of their story and then put it on their place of origin. So you can see the two colors of the push pins. Those are the two classes that were doing it. So it's super powerful stories on all of these push pins on the map. So again, students can not only create things, but they can also interact with the community and connect with the community in new ways. Okay, so PICRAT. So that's the PICRAT model. And you can see that you can place things on this matrix. You can see, well, is students' use of technology passive, interactive, or creative? So we can kind of go there. We've done that with video, where video can be passive, video can be interactive, video can be creative. And then you can go across the bottom. Does it replace? Does it simply digitize? Does it amplify or transform? So I can see lots of the examples we shared was transformative. Some of it was probably amplified. And in one example, Chrissy was digitizing what she would have said otherwise. So that was kind of replaced. So we can see all of these can be good along this matrix, but we want to have a variety. That's really important. I interviewed teachers or survey teachers, and they described the change and then they put it on the matrix. And this is what I found. This is a heat map. Almost all of them were in this interactive or amplified, right? They want to make learning more engaging and things like that. So sometimes as coaches, we need to support that, but we also need them to expand what they're doing to get to that creative level as well. Okay, so let's do a PICRAT practice. So if we could put this in the chat too. But if we go here, there should be a Jamboard. And I'm really curious how you are seeing the use of technology. You can put things in this first slide for replaces, amplifies, or transforms. So what uses of technology have you seen that's simply digitized what's been done, or amplified what has been done without technology, or really opened up new doors, new possibilities for students? So go ahead and you can add your thoughts or your examples by clicking on the sticky note. I think we're all familiar with Jamboard, but.
And I know we're going through PICRAT, and if you want to know more about it, the courses that we took at George Mason, they do a really great job of breaking it down. So you have a great understanding of it and getting those more examples to use.
And the question was, do you mean currently in our schools or in this presentation?
Oh, in your schools. Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. But that's a good point about
classes to read that.
with our presentation. You can see that we had some interaction, but a lot of this is we're trying to replicate what's been done, but then we're also trying to do new things. Have you participate in new ways?
Definitely Google Docs versus paper. That's that replacing.
Yeah, that's great. See a lot of that. And then you can also use Google Docs depending, I mean, the tool itself could be done in more amplify or even transformative ways as well. But oftentimes that's what we see is they're taking what would have been done on paper and putting it in a Google Doc. Class notes for worksheets, yeah.
I'm trying to read that pink one, but.
Gizmos. Yeah, who put the gizmos on there? Do you want to share your mic and talk a little bit about that?
Hi, yeah, I think some of the Gizmos experiments are just really cool because they can repeat and retest scenarios that they don't have access to in the classroom, or if you did have access to it in the classroom, it would really like require a lot of manpower and setup. So it just really like changes what they're able to experiment with.
That's cool. Yeah. Who put down Seesaw, just out of curiosity? Do you want to share your mic and talk about what you're seeing with Seesaw that amplifies learning? Or Class Notebook, if you did that. I'd love to hear about those a little bit more. So we have a lot of choice in the program, and I'm thinking of some students in the program right now that use Seesaw in really amazing, transformative ways. But this idea of recording student voice can be really powerful and can amplify their learning. Oh, hi, Nikki, you were here yesterday. Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, that's great. Oh, good. So Canva is having a moment, isn't it? I mean, it's just kind
really
of
is.
everywhere
It's been like
now.
the keyword, I think, for C
Yep.
2022.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nikki's saying that they're using it for a weather assessment in kindergarten right now. So it doesn't matter
Oh,
what
that's cool.
age.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where I see it a lot is I'm thinking of a kindergarten teacher right now too that does it because she can record her directions because they can't read it, and then they can respond because they have a hard time typing. So yeah, Seesaw can be really powerful. What are you guys seeing with Canva? Those of you that put Canva in.
I'm a middle school social studies teacher, and I have been basically just telling the kids, like, here's the information that you need to show me. Use whatever tool you want to do it.
Love it.
And
Yeah.
a lot of them are choosing Canva because it's a lot of built-in like options and like really user friendly. So even when kids change their mind, they can start with a slideshow and turn it into a video as they work and see somebody else's. It gives them a lot of freedom in addition to us.
That's awesome. So I'm going to skip to slide 3. So I'm wondering if, and ignore these directions, but I'm wondering if you can go the step further here and then maybe add some examples. So we talked about rat. Now those examples that you put under rat, maybe we can put it up here, or new examples. So using the matrix were those examples passive, interactive, or creative? So maybe we can put things along on the matrix and see what we're finding.
Caroline said they're more willing to create in Canva than Google because there's that more graphic design. I've noticed that too.
Interesting.
A lot more choice in what you can include.
Because it's more, is it more complicated or is it?
I wouldn't say it's more complicated, but there is definitely a lot more choices.
Yeah, a lot of like
the designing.
elements of, you know, backgrounds or banners or different shapes that you can put in or templates to start from. And then it's like different sizes, you know, like you can have the square or a cover or a, so it's a lot of like, instead of, I think when you go in Google, you just have like a blank piece of paper, basically, that you have to build everything from scratch.
What keeps coming to mind is like text features, like a lot of text feature options.
Also, if anyone has, as we're waiting for people to put on here, does anyone have any questions about anything that we've covered? Feel free to take the mic and ask away too. But also, if you're adding things here, that's great.
I think I heard Canva is awesome too for like the color, right? Like the color themes or schemes that they have.
You love the colors.
Yeah, good font, good colors.
What's Pixton?
I've never heard of that one.
All right, who put Pixton on there? You made it up, or you have to
Is that
tell
the
us what it is.
dinosaur? Sorry, Nikki.
Stop making stuff up, Nikki.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
I know. I'm gonna write that one down. I need to look it up later. Thanks, Nikki.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Comic Builder.
Awesome.
I knew what that was.
Did you? Are you fibbing?
I might be lying.
Okay.
I had
Sorry,
no
Mom.
idea.
No, any questions? We do have a door prize for everybody that came that I'll share with you in a minute, but we do have a couple minutes for questions if anyone has any, or keep adding to the Jamboard.
I'm gonna look more into this Pixton.
I just emailed myself. I'm so excited. My kids would love that. Thank you.
Okay, are you ready for your door prize?
Oh, JB, you were supposed to do the drum roll.
Okay, so in conclusion, coaching is about building bridges, right? I mean, they have these huge obstacles that they're trying to overcome. And so if we build the bridges, make it easier for them to do it, that's really what we're doing. Sometimes they're walking on our backs along there, but that's fine too. Okay, so here's your door prize. You ready? Free book on K-12 blended teaching. So we have different editions. If you click on this, if you can put that in the chat.
Yep, it's coming.
We have, this is the book that we did in 2019. So that was forever ago, right? It's still really helpful, but then we have different editions. So this one, if you hover over it, it's still kind of hard to read in my old eyes, but this is, if you hover over, this is Elementary Education Edition, We have the English Language Arts edition, math edition, science edition, and social. So we had a lot of social studies here. So for instance, if you click on this is the elementary education edition. It starts with some general chapters, and then it has some content specific chapters. So if we start here, you'll see that
There's
hey, Chrissy. So lots of people here.
We'll skip over the whole one.
We have teachers from Virginia, Texas, Hawaii, all over in these, and these are really short video clips kind of sharing this out. So this idea of overcoming that idea of, well, no one in my building is doing it. Well, you can use video to kind of spotlight some people that are doing some great things. And so we have Y Blend, so people are telling their story, different grade levels, and then online management, online integration, data practices, personalization. All these, we've done lots of research to identify these as the core competencies for blended teaching, so they can access all those books. So hopefully you use this resource, and if you have examples that you want to share that we should have in the book, let us know. Tons of videos, by the way. So we have a huge YouTube channel, so lots of examples that you can pull from there. Probably the most powerful thing along with this is we have a blended teaching readiness survey where teachers can take this and then they can get a score. If you want to do it at your building, we can give you a school-wide score as well. So they get a score in their dispositions, online integration, data practice, personalization, and online interaction. Okay, so that's it.
Right on time.
Yeah, right on time.
Here's some Christmas music out there.
Maybe 20 seconds left. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, thank you. Let us know if you have any questions about anything, and we're happy to help.
Ooh, there's going to
Yes.
be prizes just for the virtual.
Thank you guys.
Yes, thank you for coming.